Have you ever been at a wedding or birthday party, raised your glass, clinked it against a friend's, and shouted, "Cheers," without really thinking about why? It's one of those universal social rituals we do instinctively, but the story behind it is actually a wild mix of ancient rituals, 17th century bread, and, believe it or not, medieval poison control. Today we're diving into the fascinating history of the drinking toast to see why we just can't seem to take a sip without making a little noise first. Let's start with the word itself, cheers. It sounds so simple, right? But it actually comes from the old French word chier, which originally meant face or head. By the 18th century, the meaning had shifted to signify gladness or a state of mind, and people started using it as a way to express encouragement or good spirits to one another. Today, when we say it, we're essentially offering a succinct wish for good cheer and health to the people we're drinking with. It's a verbal handshake that signals camaraderie.
But what about the word toast? Why do we call a speech a piece of breakfast food? Well, back in the 16th century, people literally put a piece of scorched or spiced bread into their wine. It sounds gross now, but back then, wine wasn't always top-shelf quality, and the toast helped soak up some of the acidity and improved the flavor of a bad batch. It also helped soften up bread that was going stale. Even Shakespeare mentions this in The Merry Wives of Windsor, where the character Falstaff asks for a quart of wine and tells the server to put a toast in it. Eventually, by the 18th century, the term evolved. Instead of referring to the bread in the glass, the toast became the person being honored by the drink. That's where the phrase, "the toast of the town," comes from. Now let's get to the part everyone loves, the clinking of the glasses. If you've heard a rumor about why we do this, it's probably the poison theory. The story goes that in the Middle Ages, poisoning your rivals was a pretty common way to climb the social or political ladder. The Borgia family in Italy, for example, were legendary for using arsenic-laced wine to get rid of their enemies.
Supposedly, people started clinking their metal or wooden cups together so hard that some of the liquid would slosh from one cup into the other. If your host was willing to clink and then take a sip, it proved the drink wasn't spiked, because they'd be poisoning themselves too. While it's a great story, modern historians are a bit skeptical. They point out that unless the glasses were filled to the absolute brim, the liquid would mostly just spill on the floor rather than into the other person's cup. Plus, ancient people often drank from communal vessels anyway, which would make the whole spiking a specific cup thing pretty difficult. So if it wasn't about poison, why do it? One popular theory is that clinking glasses completes the sensory experience. Think about it. When you drink, you can see the color of the liquid, feel the glass, smell the aroma, and taste the beverage, but your ears are left out of the party. The clink brings the fifth sense of sound into the mix, making the experience whole. This became especially popular in the 17th century when Venetian glassmakers perfected clear, resonant crystal. For the first time, drinking vessels didn't just thud, they produced a beautiful bell-like ring. People likely loved that sound so much it became a permanent part of the ritual. There's also a more supernatural explanation. In medieval times, people were very superstitious and believed that evil spirits or demons might be lurking inside the alcohol or hanging around celebrations. They believed that loud noises, like bells, could ward off these spirits. Clinking glasses was a quick way to make a sharp noise to scare the demons away. Some even believed that by clinking and spilling a little bit of the drink on the floor, you were leaving a peace offering for the spirits, so they'd leave you alone. Even though we all clink, the way we say cheers varies wildly across the globe. In France, they say santé, which means to health. In Italy, it's salute or cin cin. In Germany, they say Prost. And there's a strict rule: you must make direct eye contact when you clink, or it's considered bad luck. In Japan, you'll hear kanpai. And in Ireland, you'll hear sláinte, which also translates to health.
Fun fact, the Italian word cin cin isn't actually Italian in origin. It comes from the Chinese phrase ching ching, or please please in English, which was brought back to Europe by sailors. The Italians adopted it because it sounds exactly like clinking glassware.
At the end of the day, whether you're trying to scare off medieval demons, show your friends you haven't poisoned them, or just enjoy the pretty sound of crystal, toasting is all about connection. It's a moment where we pause, acknowledge the people we're with, and celebrate the fact that we're all here together. So the next time you raise your glass, remember you're participating in a tradition that's thousands of years old. Cheers to that.